Welcome to Know Your Money. I'm your host, Bronwyn Weiner. With me is Craig Finch, my business partner from Growth Financial Planning. Joining us today and every day is our sound engineer, Warren Grimsley. In our podcast, we will explore our relationship with money and how the psychology of it impacts our financial decisions, as everyone thinks about money differently. We will be presenting a variety of financial topics in an easy-to-understand way, which we hope will assist you in managing your money. Hi everybody, welcome to today's episode, and today's episode is Understanding Your Credit Card. Hello Warren, hello Craig.
Hello Craig, hello Bronwyn.
How's it Warren? How's it Brian? How are you all doing?
Fantastic, thank you. And you?
All good, thank you. How's that credit card in your wallet looking, Warren?
Honestly, I have no debt on my credit card and it feels great.
Amazing. That is not what a lot of people can say, so kudos to you.
I think learning the hard way though. For a couple of years, I ended up paying quite a lot of interest that could have been put into savings, which was very frustrating. So as soon as I made enough money, I paid it off.
That's brilliant.
So, Brian, what is the cost of a credit card? I thought it was quite good. I mean, you borrow money at a low rate, and I don't think they charge you so much. Is that?
I want to find one person that can actually tell me that they know what interest they're being charged on their credit card. Because 9 out of 10 times, if we have a meeting when I have a meeting with my clients and we go through their assets and their liabilities, and I ask them what interest rate they're being charged on their credit card, not one person has come back to me and been able to say what it is.
But I bet you they know their bond interest.
Some of them do. And the thing with a credit card is they don't make it easy for you to find that. So I'll try to sit in a meeting and say to a client, okay, can you try and look? And you can't actually find it. It's not just there on your statements. And it's hidden because they don't want you to actually know that it's 18 or 23%.
Yeah, because most times you look and you find out that if the money market rates at the moment are, let's say, 7%. So if I invest money in a money market at a bank, they'll give me 7% every year on my money. But if I borrow money on my credit card, it's at least 18%.
Exactly.
What a scary number that is.
And the thing with a credit card is it doesn't matter who you are. What your limit is, you see that as your money. You don't see that as the bank's money. You see it as yours. And if you want to swipe on your credit card for something, it's so much easier than if I said to you, can you take that amount out of your savings? You feel anxious to take it out of your savings, but it becomes so easy to come out of your credit card.
Yeah, because that's like, if I was to talk about myself, that's a future Warren problem.
Yes.
You know, if it comes out of my saving, that's a current Warren problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, future Warren, he'll deal with it. It's fine.
Exactly. And that's the thing. We forget about our future selves, or we put so much pressure on them that we don't enjoy today. And one of the biggest pieces of advice that we've been giving people is try and lower whatever your credit card limit is. You can call the banks. You can say to them, lower my credit card limit by 1,000 Rand every month. It will take 1,000 Rand off it. So just be cautious of that. But whatever you see there, that must be manageable. That must be, if something happened to you, you can afford to pay 5,000 Rand back. Can you afford to pay 50,000 Rand in credit card? And if you are that high in debt, if you tell them to lower that limit, you'll be doing that subconsciously, and that's what can be so helpful and useful.
And the scary thing is that as you pay your credit card off diligently, they increase the amount you can borrow.
Yeah, your limit.
So they want you to stay in debt because they're charging you a much higher rate than you would get invested. So it's very important to remember that.
Mm. If I could go to grassroots, why do you think most people get credit cards in the first place?
So I think a big perception is that people think that you need a credit card to get a good credit score. To buy a house or to open up something. And, my husband has never been in debt. He's never had a credit card. And when he did apply for a bond, it was very difficult for him because he didn't have this credit score. But what he could have done is had a credit card with a manageable limit. So we're not saying don't get one because it can affect your credit score. But when you go and get one and they say, okay, we'll give you 20,000 Rand as your limit, but you earn 10,000 Rand a month.
No, it's a bad idea.
Don't take the 20. Do what is manageable to get your credit score up.
Look, Warren, also when you go to a store, it's easier to pay. And the transactions are a lot easier to pay with a credit card. It's also safer. You don't carry cash with you. So I think that's the convenience. That's why so many people have a credit card. But most people have more than one credit card. So the one's paying the other. That definitely doesn't help you. And if you have a credit card, you must pay it off every month. So it's as though that you drew cash, but you didn't draw cash. It's an easy way to pay your account as you go from store to store, but you have to pay it off.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think what Bronwyn said, it definitely, from my understanding, is it is a huge beneficial thing to credit score, but it's not going to be good for your credit score if you can't pay it off.
Exactly.
And if you start missing payments, well, that's actually going to be detrimental to your credit score.
And you know what also happens, which I think is so mentally and emotionally draining, is that people get their 13th check or they get their money back from SARS and they say, I'm going to use this to pay off my credit card. And what they do, and they go and wipe that whole credit card, but they leave the limits to what it is. And within 3 months, 4 months, they're back in that same position. And that 13th check that they were supposed to do something to enjoy, they didn't get the chance or the opportunity to do that because they paid off debt and now they're stuck right back in it.
And
so it's important to pay off debt, but at the same time, you have to be putting a bit aside so that when you do have an emergency, you're going to your emergency fund and not your credit card for those things.
And also, the banks only want you to pay the minimum payment every month. They don't want you to pay the whole lot off because they make money while you're still in debt.
Yeah.
And they always say the minimum payment, and most people we know pay the minimum payment and never get out of that debt.
Yeah.
And it's back to the budget. You have to look at your credit card statement every single month, allocate the spending to a category that you're spending and try and look at where your spending habits are. It's no good just looking at your bank statements. You have to add your credit card because that's where lots of the unnecessary spending happens.
Exactly. And when when in our budgeting episode, when we said look at your budget, it is every single rand that you spend, where do you spend it? So you've got to look at every single thing. If you move your thing into 5 credit cards, sorry for you, you've got to add all 5 into it and look at that if you really want to make a change and create a better lifestyle for yourself and to not be so anxious anymore about money. It's just too many people around us are anxious about money. It's holiday time right now while we're recording this, and people are worrying about where they're going to get their Christmas presents. And if you had allocated a plan for every single rand, you would have had that in a side budget. You would have had your holiday, and you'd just live life a little bit easier.
And, I would say, a lot of people, because it's what I did a while back with a credit card, was to, I want to buy myself a TV. I'm 19 now, I've moved out, so I'm going to go splash and buy myself a nice TV. That's a great idea and everything, but wouldn't it have been better, obviously, to have just saved the money over time? But you need the TV now, I understand that. But isn't there another way of doing it where the interest is a lot lower and it's on a fixed period, like a personal loan?
So personal loans can actually be worse sometimes.
Oh, really?
This is the thing. This podcast is about knowing your money. So if you are a person and you have a revolving loan and you have a personal loan and you have a credit card and you are really battling to get out of that, just know your money. Know which one has the highest interest rate. Try fix that one first and go on to the other thing. We're not saying don't ever get a credit card because you're going to have to borrow money, but just borrow it in the right way or understand what you're actually borrowing, I think is...
And you must manage it once again, must know where it is, what they're charging you. Can I pay it off quickly? And don't, as you pay it off, when they give you another limit, extend the limit, make sure you actually drop in the limit. It's a convenience product and you use it for convenience only. It's not your money.
Yeah. And like a suggestion with dropping the limit is, say, for example, you can afford to drop the limit by 1,000 Rand every month. ask them to drop it by 500 Rand, and in another account put 500 Rand for savings. So as you're dropping that limit by 500, you've got your emergency fund on the side. And also when it comes to an emergency fund, you've got to break that up into specific funds, holidays, broken cell phones, whatever the case is, so that you can allocate it in the right way to find what you need. Awesome stuff. Thanks, guys.
Great. So, Brian, that's back to save, not spend.
Definitely. I think the outcomes for this episode is find out what your interest rate is, try and lower your limits if you can, and create a positive place where you get your money instead of in your credit card.
All right. Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
You too.
Thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe or visit our website www.growthfp.co.za. The information we have provided in this podcast is our personal opinion. For more detailed information, please discuss your financial situation with a financial planner.